Two, one, and we're on. All right, episode 12, World of Lifting podcast. We have special guest Jack Tomlinson, formerly known as JT Kidd, Jackson Ridley, and Jackson James. How are you doing today, man?
What's up, man? I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we gotta kick off the podcast with the first question. So let's hear the story of how'd you get into this pro wrestling thing.
So that can date all the way back to when I was 10. I used to not like pro wrestling. My brother was a WWE fan and he used to watch it and I was never into it. I was like, what are you watching? What is this? And then one day I walked in and he was watching, it was actually an episode of Zack Ryder, my all-time favorite wrestler, who's actually from Long Island, was on, and he was being accompanied to the ring by Hugh Jackman. And Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine. Ooh. Yeah, and like I'm watching this and I'm like, why is Hugh Jackman here? What's going on? About 7 minutes pass. Then we get to the end of this match, and Hugh Jackman punches Zack Ryder's opponent, Dolph Ziggler, in the face. And I'm just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. What is going on right now?
Yeah,
so I get into it.
They bring celebrities there, don't they?
Yeah. First time I ever saw, I'll go off in a second. First time I ever went to a live wrestling event at the Nassau Coliseum, I saw Cyndi Lauper, who sings True Colors. You know the song?
I don't. But...
Oh, you never heard it's like, I see your true colors shine.
I'm so bad with music.
You probably recognize it if you heard it. It's an older song. I think it came out before we were born, to be honest, or when we were really young. But she took her platinum record and smashed it over a wrestler's head.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I saw Michael Strahan wrestle The Miz one time. But digressing, going back to what I was saying, I just kept watching over the years. I kept watching it, and after about a year of consistently watching, I was 11 now, and I'm like, I want to do that. That looks so cool. I started wrestling in my parents' room. I would dive off their bed. And then when I was about 14, I think I was 14, my father was like doing some regular search on the internet of like wrestling, because he's a big wrestling fan too. And he had found through Zack Ryder his old tag partner named Kurt Hawkins.
Wait, your dad used to do this?
My dad didn't used to do it, but he's a big fan of it. He's been watching it since he was a little kid.
Okay.
And he was like looking stuff up for me. I don't know. Maybe he was looking up tickets to a show we could go see, or maybe he was looking up like merchandise to buy me for Christmas. I don't know what. But through Zack Ryder, through the grapevine that is the internet, he found Kurt Hawkins. And Kurt Hawkins is also a WWE superstar, formerly a WWE superstar, and Zack Ryder's former tag team partner. And he dove into Kurt, and he found a school that Kurt Hawkins had just recently opened with former WWE producer Pat Buck. And he told me about it. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I want to go check it out. By the time we got to checking it out, they had started running shows at Creative Pro. So I went to my first Creative Pro show, Creative Bro. And when the show was over, I went and spoke to Pat Buck and Kurt Hawkins, now known as Brian Myers. So I talked to Brian and I talked to Pat, and I was trying to figure out how I could wrestle with them. And then they're like, yeah, you can come down. This is the tuition, but this is how the classes run. I'm this trainer. They had another trainer at the time named Vinny, VSK. And I was like, oh, this sounds great. It sounds great. And they're like, so how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm 14. Actually, sorry. At this time, I was 15. Sorry. And they're like, oh, listen, you got to be 16 to train in New York State. And we're like, what? I come back a couple months later. I'm 16 years old. Now I'm ready to wrestle. And then that's how I started training at the school. Don't even get me started. Day of training, they dropped the bomb on me saying, you can train here at 16, but you can't be on shows in New York State till you're 18. So now I had 2 more years of training and waiting till then. But to answer that in a nutshell, it was a grand scheme of internet surfing for my dad to find Creative Pro Wrestling with Brian and Pat.
So you said Zack Ryder is he's a Long Island dude, and he's So was he one of your inspirations, you think?
Oh, definitely. He's my all-time favorite pro wrestler. He's my first ever real childhood hero, I think. He was just huge because I didn't like wrestling, like I said. And then I saw him on screen and I fell in love with it. And to this day, it's just anytime he's on, I got to watch it. Some of my favorite matches involve him. My all-time favorite match was him winning the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So like, I just have found that everything I do in wrestling is gated back to him, especially when it comes to nowadays with my character and with my gimmick and a lot of the stuff when I needed to reflect back to other wrestlers as to what will work or what might not work. I often go to him because I like his style. I like his flair.
Is there anyone else like a big name?
Mm-hmm. I break them into their categories. So like character wise and like charisma wise, I love looking at wrestlers like The Miz, or like The Rock. I love seeing the way that they can talk and really tell a story just like with their words. And because as much as everything matters when you're in the ring, a lot of the time, especially in WWE, you have the luxury of building up to a match and making a whole storyline. And I think they have the best build. In terms of in ring, I love people that I look at and I'm like, oh, they do that cool move. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to put this little twist on it. Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano. Those are my guys that I look at. Oh, I mentioned before who got punched by Hugh Jackman, Dolph Ziggler. He's always, you ever want to see good selling in wrestling? I'd probably watch Dolph Ziggler.
Damn, I did not recognize any of the names you mentioned. I tried to think back because there was a video game that WWE came out with, and I think I played as Triple H or something. But yeah,
I love Triple H, but Triple H probably you might recognize these names: Triple H, Edge, Batista, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio. Most of them now, although they all still like wrestle at some capacity, some full time, some once a year. They kind of stopped their full-time grind, full-time on the roster, when I started to get into it. So when I started to get into it is when all these new guys that I just mentioned, like Seth Rollins, started to come in and started to take over WWE. So
that was
it's interesting.
2016.
I think Rollins joined in 2013. So when I started watching wrestling in 2011 is when things really started to shift and be different.
I think since I knew you, you said you used to wrestle, like actually wrestle, like the high school wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, I didn't mean to be a dick there. Not like actual wrestling, but like I'm just saying like the scholastic like wrestling.
Yeah, believe me, I'm not offended by it. I'm a sports entertainer. I say pro wrestling because I believe that's its own category, which it is, but I will say broadly to sports entertainment, not just the physical, the athletic side that comes with it. I love the entertainment aspect. I love the theatrics that go into it because I'm a thespian. But I did wrestle. I started wrestling when I was in 6th grade because my brother was wrestling, so he would teach me stuff. And then I joined an official team for my school when I was in 7th grade. 8th grade, I became the captain of my team, and then
a high school team.
This was middle school.
This
was middle school. I mean, I was captain. And then once that season ended in middle school, the high school season was still going on. They were entering counties and stuff. So I wouldn't have had enough practices to wrestle for them, but they still had practices going on. So they invited me up to go to a few practices with them, do a special little early spring training session. So I joined with them, and then I wrestled with them over the summer, and right into high school, I made varsity as a freshman. Things were looking great. I was first in my weight class. I was freshman year. I was wrestling 106. I was little. And my second tournament, I had 2 matches in my entire high school career, and I got injured.
Oh God.
I had this injury. It was a back problem that I had heard probably a year, maybe 2 in advance working out. And I just ignored it. And something happened on the mat that triggered it. I got injured. I fractured my T-spine. I can never for the life of me remember which one. I think it was either my T4 or my T7.
Did someone like Matt return you like to hell?
It was, I had heard it prior. I had heard it working out improperly when I was younger, when I didn't fully know what I was doing. Okay. And then it came again in middle school. It has a WWE thing. I was wrestling a friend at the time. We were doing a shot drill where you just take shots on each other back and forth. And when I picked him up and I took a double leg, I lift him up, he screams, WWE, and he locks in his arm like he's going to go for like a DDT or something. At this time, I am in 7th grade. I have been wrestling officially for 2 months, and this is not WWE. We are not trained. We are kids. I freak out because he has a chokehold locked in on me. So I just launch him off of me. Like I just throw him because I'm like, what am I going to do? I did not have the strength to do that naturally. It came out of sheer I'm passing out. And if I don't get him off,
Oh,
I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass. Oh,
he
he was
locked in?
genuinely he was choking me. I was like, if I didn't throw him, I was going down. And when I threw him, I lost complete balance because it wasn't, oh, I have the strength to do this. It was, I got scared and I just threw him.
Yeah.
I fell. He lands on my head, completely chips open a bunch of my teeth. If you look closely, my teeth are kind of messed up. But he lands like right here and right on my face, which your spine starts here. So I feel this weird pain in my back. I ignore it for like I got away with it for like another year, and then something happened freshman year. I got picked up. I got dropped. I was able to complete the match. It was not devastating, but then it just kept going for weeks. And there was one night I was playing with my dog. I was just literally playing with my dog. I was laying on my back, and she was like on top of me and kissing me, and we're having fun. And I got up and I went to hug her, and I just spazzed and I just collapsed in my parents' room, and I'm just collapsed. My dad had to pick me up and put me on the bed. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Like you couldn't move?
I couldn't move. And the worst thing is I laugh when I am in an uncomfortable position or I'm in pain.
Like your arms, you couldn't.
I couldn't stand. My back was completely.
Oh, you couldn't stand.
gone.
Okay. So it's not like you went numb everywhere, right?
Oh no, I had control of my arms and legs. I could move my head. I could blink. I could talk. I wasn't like having anything like that.
Yeah, okay.
There was no strength in my spine, and all the muscles around it had failed. So I was like, I can't do anything. But to make matters worse, like I said, I laugh. So I'm in immense pain and I'm dying laughing. My parents don't know what to do because I'm on the floor in agonizing pain. They're terrified that I'm hurt, but I'm laughing. So like, Jack, are you being serious? Like, what are you doing? Right then, freshman year wrestling season's done. 10th grade, I come back. I don't even get to a tournament. Just in practice, I get hurt again. And I'm like,
is
what?
that the same thing?
Different injury now. I go back, same doctor. He does MRI, X-rays, all that fun stuff. I had a bulging disc in my neck. This was more in my like rhomboid, so it was right down here. So it's a lot better than a herniated disc, so I can say that.
Yeah.
But I was told you are going to be back in about 2 to 3 months, which put me right at the mark of
most of the season, right?
Yeah. And I would have been able to come back to wrestle for like practices, but you need a certain amount of practices to wrestle for like counties and hopefully state. So I lost that because even if I came back for those practices, I wouldn't have been able to go to state. So I was so pissed that season was lost. I had 2 weeks of practice in the entire year. And by the next year, that's when I started training to be a professional wrestler. So that's where my high school wrestling career ended. I've always been kind of annoyed that I didn't go back to that and I didn't settle that out because I really believe state was in sight for me, at least by my senior year. So that was kind of upsetting, but the way things have panned out with wrestling, which we're going to talk about, I'm not no regret in that department.
Yeah, it's kind of like a door just shut in your face, right? Yeah, you didn't settle it your own way.
Yeah, but then everything else opened up with wrestling and WWE and YouTube. So
yeah,
it's
kind of like the same with me with wrestling. When I just ripped my shoulder, same thing with you. Except it wasn't a back issue; it was my shoulder. I kind of left it alone for a while, 2 years.
Yeah, can't do it.
My shoulder just kept dislocating on me, so I was like, yeah, I need to get this checked out. So did the same thing, MRI, X-ray, all that good stuff, and then they're like, yeah, your labrum's kind of messed up. Yeah, I ended up doing that's when you saw me when I was in the sling.
Yeah, you were in the sling. I remember that. I feel like I'm having shoulder problems right now.
Oh,
so I'm feeling that big time. I pinched a nerve like 2 months ago. It went all the way from here, the pain, all the way down my fingers.
Oh, that's the worst.
And the weird thing is nothing happened. Like, I really would love a cool story. Someone broke into my house. I defended the house and something went wrong. No, I went to bed one night and I woke up the next morning and I couldn't feel my arm. And I hate that is my story.
Are you like a active mover in sleep? You always like rolling around?
I have no idea. Honestly, I think it was just like I fell asleep and my girlfriend was in my arms. So I'm just pretty sure like just laying there for nine hours with a human being on my arm just killed it. Maybe, I don't know.
That's
But
weird though.
I think it's weird too. It makes no sense whatsoever. But for 2 days, I could not feel like I could feel it, but I could barely do like this, and it was tingly. I was so convinced I had permanent nerve damage. I was screwed. I rested it for 5 weeks. I didn't lift anything. I didn't touch anything. I literally just sat there all day. Ice, heat.
Man.
It got better. There's no pain now, and I have full mobility. My only problem now is I have little to no strength in this arm. So it really sucks.
In terms of you can't like curl anything.
Yeah. I mean, I worked out earlier today. In my basement, I'm doing dumbbell presses. At one point in my life, I was doing 90-pound dumbbells, almost 100, and here I'm doing 20 pounds, and I'm like, get up there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like weights are heavier in your own home gym. I don't know.
I have those plate loaded ones where you got to unscrew.
Oh, you got adjustable ones?
Yeah, you have to adjust all the weight. That's what I've been using during this pandemic.
Anyway, that was a little bit off topic, but anyway. Actually,
no,
not really. But anyway, so
I started with wrestling, and then went.
I would imagine that you're since you said that your dad was looking out for you with the wrestling thing. So I'm imagining that your family's very supportive of this.
Mm-hmm. Biggest supporter is definitely my dad. Dad is a huge supporter. For everything in wrestling. Like I said, he knows the business. He knows the business as he was a fan. He was a big fan for a while, reading like autobiographies of wrestlers, and in there you learn a lot because you hear their firsthand stories. So he's very understanding of what happens and what goes into it. Rest of the family is as well. My mom is interesting. My mom is funny. She's a typical mom. She doesn't know it. She doesn't know how it works. She doesn't know what goes into it. So she's freaking out. She's like, what if my baby can't do it? Like, I don't want him to get hurt. I don't know it. I can't help him. So what do I do? And it's funny, when I first started, she tried to limit me. There was practice at Creative Pro 3 times a week. And I was like, I'm going to go all 3 times a week. I'm going to stay late. I'm going to train. I'm going to work out. And she's like, okay, Jack, I love that. You're going to go twice a week, sometimes once. And I'm like, no, I'm going 3. And she's like, can you drive? And I'm like, no. We don't get our license till we're 17. I can't do that. And she's like, well, you're going twice. Fought her on it. And now fast forward 2 years later, I had to take some time off for school. And she started telling me, you're not taking time off. You're going back full time. You're being there all the time. So 2 years later, she flip-flopped.
Wait, why?
Because I don't know, man. I just think in the beginning, I think it was she didn't know it. She doesn't know wrestling, so she was scared that I was getting into something. I think after 3 years of seeing all my passion for it and seeing how far I've come, I think me saying I'm taking like a month off because of school and work's piling up made them be like, oh my God, he's leaving. I'm like, no. No matter how many times I was like, no, I'm not quitting. I just need a month. I have to focus on school. If I take a month off from wrestling, I'm not going to risk my entire tuition and my entire degree as an educator, but I will for wrestling. So I gotta get this done. And then when summer comes, I'll be back at it. Summer's here. I'm getting back at it. But it was funny. It was funny to see her flip.
All right, let's talk about your Creative Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. So you said you joined them when you were. You said you couldn't. You met up with them when you were 14. You couldn't do anything until you were 16, and you can't compete until you're 18.
Yeah.
Well, that's process though.
Yeah.
So like,
it's a road.
When you on your first day of legit practice, what do they make you do?
So the first time you actually go to the school, you just watch. You observe to make sure that you believe you can do this. They want you to see. So my first day, I watched, I observed. Next day I went back. This was my official first day. It was September 21st, 2016. So it was the first official day, and I was being trained by VSK, one of the guys I mentioned earlier. And the first thing they have you do is you stretch. You do a lot of all the stretches were actually pretty different. They were cool. You use the ropes to your advantage. A lot of it's kind of like gymnast stretches. You throw your leg up there and you try and get it spread up as far as you can. A lot of lower body stretches. They also focus on just getting your body warmed up, some jumping jacks, push-ups. we do a couple of games with abs. Go to Creative Pro and you'll see the plank game.
The plank game. Oh God, that sounds painful.
It is, unless you get into the game. If you get into the game, you find yourself just doing a plank for maybe 10 minutes is probably an exaggeration, 5 minutes, and you just completely forget that you're tensing up your core the entire time. But then when you get into the rolls, and rolling is you learn how to do a front roll, a back roll, which is literally you're just rolling on the ground. It's what it sounds like. And then you do these things called shoulder rolls, which are very important in wrestling. It's where you roll on the back end of your shoulder, mainly your left arm. And that's to teach you body control and body awareness. And then going forward, the class will usually do a drill where they'll running the ropes, taking tackles, taking tackles, yes. And then you'll usually go into either a more advanced drill. Sometimes you'll do a promo class. Sometimes you'll actually put on matches. But for me, on my first day, they taught you how to run the ropes. So when you hit the ropes, there's a big science to it. How many steps you take in between hitting each ropes, how to hit it correctly, so you don't flip over. And for years, I thought that was crazy. Like when you hit the ropes, you got to make sure you sink your butt into it and you get the top rope right in the middle portion of your back here so that you don't flip over. You also grab the rope just in case you do flip over. You grab it with your right arm.
Oh, okay.
You turn into it. So you're running at it and the rope's right here. I see it. I turn into it. I put my back into it. I'm grabbing it in case the rope breaks. I used to think that was like, interesting. I think this was this past summer. I was performing on a show in Center Reach, New York, and right before the show starts, I'm running the ropes to make sure the ring is ready for the rest of the show because I was one of the guys that really helped set up the ring. I hit the rope snaps. Oh. I flip over to the outside. I bang my head on the apron, and I turn. I don't want anyone to see that I just made a fool of myself. I don't want to be on America's Funniest Home Videos. So I just walk away so casually. But apparently everyone saw it. But yeah, going back to your question of how you do it, learn how to run the ropes, and then you learn how to bump. Now, bumping is like tackling. The most common tackle is a shoulder tackle, where you jam your shoulder into someone and they hit it. You go chest to chest and you bump. And a bump is when you hit the mat in wrestling. And they teach you all about the science behind that of slapping out. So you want to land on your upper shoulder blades. You don't want to land on your lower back. You don't want to break your tailbone. And you want to slap out to the mat because it's going to reduce the impact. It's going to make the sound bigger. It's going to make you safer.
We do a lot of those in judo. I remember those slapping the mat.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of there is this really weird, not weird, this common misconception that because it's a staged performance that everything is completely like a hoax and like fake. It's a fugazi, it's a fugazi. I've always wanted to say that. Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah. Okay, never.
I thought you didn't get the reference. I was like, come on, man, you gotta get that. But all of the moves are centered around real life tactics that they teach you, real life fighting. Obviously, if I'm going up to the top rope and I'm doing a jump backflip 360, no, you're not going to do that in a real fight. I'm not going to get jumped in the alleyway and go, okay, hang on, let me climb up the fire escape so I can jump on you.
Yeah,
I'm going to pick you up and slam you into this dumpster. Like, no, that's the show aspect, that's the fun. But yeah, it does have a center of real mixed martial arts.
So I guess you just refine the technique until it just looks like beautiful, like just majestic.
Yeah. Wow. My favorite class is moves class. And what moves class is you come in, you have to have a bunch of different moves that whether you saw it on TV or you just thought of it, and it's like, we're just going to try things. You're just going to try random things.
And it's kind of like improv.
Yeah. You could say, I want to try Randy Orton's RKO. Or you can go, I was watching this really random match from Japan. I want to try this Michinoku driver, or, anything like that. And you just get to try moves. And when you hit them, when you nail them, you just get to keep using those in your actual matches. which I love moose class. It's fun.
Oh, that's right. Isn't it a big culture in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Like pro wrestling?
It's huge in Japan. One of the biggest companies is from Japan. It's very big.
Oh God. All right. Yeah. So with these moves, like, how do they plan the I guess as a choreography kind of?
Mm-hmm.
So how do they like plan that out?
There's a lot of lingo that goes into wrestling, and you learn. Like if you say something like, in a sense, like, all right, I'm gonna whip you. You're gonna give me an up and over, 2 arm drags. Then you're gonna take off, hit the ropes. Give me drop down, leapfrog, drop kick. Sounds like a bunch of mumble jumbo to you.
It does. Yeah.
Yes, but you learn through wrestling, through training, through other wrestlers, through watching, through even just being at a live show as a fan, you learn what these things mean. So a lot of the times choreography is based solely on just talking, because I've wrestled guys where I knew them for 30 minutes before our actual match. So a lot of it, you got to just talk, and you just got to say, I want to do X, Y, Z, and then we'll go out and do it. Sometimes the moves are crazy, and you have to actually try it out a few times. You got to walk. Sometimes you'll just walk through it. You'll block the entire portion of the match. So it depends on how big the match is, how long the match is. Longest match I ever had was 22 minutes. It was my debut match at Creative Pro, and myself and my opponent, we had been planning the match for probably about a month in advance. The shortest I ever did was I wrestled on a show in Rhode Island, and me and the other wrestler started talking about it 45 minutes before we went out.
So you do all this, but like, who determines who's like gonna win?
The fans. It's really it's determined by who is going to bring the company the biggest pop. And a pop is a reaction. Whether you want it depends. Now the direction that you want to go is based on the promoter and the head of the company. If you want the bad guy pop, you want the music to hit and you want everyone to go, boo, this guy sucks. Or if you want the music to hit and you want the little kids to jump up, you want everyone to start going crazy. But it's really based on people's reaction to you. Like, are you the type of guy that's going to walk out that curtain and wrestle for 17 minutes and have maybe 5 seconds because you did one cool thing? Or are you going to want the dude who's going to come out, wrestle for 6 minutes, maybe not do much cool things, but just because he's him, everyone's going to be out of their seat the whole time. Probably they're going to give it to him because he's keeping people riled up the whole time. He's getting people into it. He's making you want to come back. That's the biggest thing.
So you determine that mid-match, like how loud the crowd's going?
No, that's based on prior times wrestling at a company. The more seasoned you are at a certain company, the more likely you are to build a real storyline and to know how, and to kind of be able to predict how fans are. Other times it's just got to be a prediction, and sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. I mean, there have been times where I've wrestled and I've been told I'm not winning, and I have said to myself, I don't think that's right. I think I should be winning. I think people would react better if I won. But I keep my mouth shut. It's a business. You do what you have to do. To me, it's not about winning or losing. I don't really care about a record. I just care about putting on the best show and putting on the match of the night, giving the fans their money's worth. But that being said, there have been times where I've been told I was winning, and I wanted to look the promoter in the eye and be like, dude, why am I winning? I don't need to win this match. It should be him. He should be winning. And that's coming from me, someone who doesn't wrestle as often as some of these other guys in this business. I mean, if you're with WWE, you're wrestling anywhere from 1 to 4 times a week. So 52 weeks out of the year. So you'll find a lot more stories with some of those guys.
That's interesting. I think that's probably the one thing that that people outside looking in don't understand, where they'll just trash talk. Oh, it's staged, it's all fake. Mm-hmm. And I just learned that right now, all the little things that go into it. And it's definitely a lot more than I thought it was already.
Yeah, it's just a lot. I think that's the thing that separates us is how often we do it. Like, yes, a UFC fighter is 100% putting their life on the line in a very different aspect that WWE is. You're putting your life on the line in professional wrestling 100% with some of the moves you do and how you can be potentially dropped in your head at some spots, or you can give yourself permanent damage in some way. But yes, there's a very big difference in like mixed martial arts fighting, the UFC, But I think the difference that separates us in the athletic department, in the sports department, is they could do that 1 to 3 times a year, and that's considered a lot. Professional wrestlers will do this night in and night out, 5 days out of the week, 365 days a year. It's a big commitment. It's a big commitment, especially if you are able to do this for a living. You're putting your body on line every night.
So let's see. So you trained since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So about 4 years now.
Yes.
So now that you've built up all this experience, are you known, like when you walk out in the crowd, do the fans know are you known for any signature moves?
It's based on the company. I think at Creative Pro or another company that I worked out called Victory Pro, definitely there. I come out and people know me. Other companies, no, I'm not known at all. A few people know me. I've wrestled for companies like XWA or Wrestle Pro. These are just independent wrestling promotions on the East Coast, or in the Northeast. One of them's down the coast. Some of them will know me. Some of them will know my moves. I actually just put up a video on YouTube. I'm going to shamelessly plug here, Jack Tomlinson Vlogs. And I just put a top 20s move video up where that actually says all my main moves that I use in my matches. My finisher is...
You have 20 moves?
There's more. I left a lot out because you couldn't put some, got to keep it somewhat short. I recommend the highlight video if I'm going to say any. But my finisher, it's actually number 1 on that 20 moves list. It's called the gut check. And what I do is I pick a guy up in a fireman's carry and I shoulder press him up. It's going to be hard on my shoulder now. Shoulder press him up. I drop to my back and I throw my legs up and they drop on my shins and knees into their gut. So I'm checking the crud out of your gut. I'm making sure you know what's up.
Is that full contact?
Yeah. You can watch it.
Geez.
I don't know if you can pull it up on your screen. You might even be able to pull it up on here and put it on our screen in the recording if you tried. Or you could screen share. I have other moves. I have one move called the TikTok tap out, which is taken from the app TikTok. Put the guy's arm behind my back and I lock him in and I yank on his face. I have a move called the sternum stomp where I literally stomp on your sternum. I love that one. That one's fun. And then I have a bunch of other moves. I do a lot of dives. In that top 20 list, I have at least 3 dives on there where I'll actually jump and flip over the ropes to the outside, or I'll just jump over the ropes, or I'll jump through the ropes. And I have to add this. I think my most common move I ever do is I love doing a drop kick. I love drop kicks. I jump up, I drop kick. That's, I think, number 12 on the list. You see how much time I put into editing that video.
When you drop kick someone, are these when you make a contact like an actual contact move, like a punch or something? Like, are you actually punching them, or are they just selling the shit out of it, or they just like, oh, it looks like I got punched?
It's a lot of it's selling. You'll find some people who are amazing at selling. But I've had scenarios where I get full on clocked in the face. I remember one of my first ever practices. I was wrestling a guy, and he just pumped back and bam, right in the eye, and I'm like, oh. And I just remember saying to myself, that's real. That hurt.
Oh, man.
Popped right in the face. But like I said, there's a big science to it. There's a way you can learn how to do it that you aren't going to hurt them, that you can continue to do this every night and do it as often as we do. But that being said, you are still getting hit. It is 100% real. Just because I know your next thing, your fist is going to come up and you're going to punch me, it's still going to hurt. I know it's coming. I can prepare for it. I can make it look better than it really is, but it's going to hurt because you're going to hit me.
So with your drop kick, is that the same thing? Your
forearm
just blasting your foot in someone's like gut?
Yeah, I drop kick in the face. Oh, I get up there.
Oh, you drop kick in the face? Holy moly.
Are you able to I kind of want to watch my own videos now. This is terrible.
I mean, I don't know. I only post the audio. So.
Oh, it's an audio thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they can't see me. Damn. I got all dolled up for nothing. I got my Spider-Man hat for nothing.
I mean, the recording's going to have this. I don't know. Maybe I'll start posting a video podcast. Who knows?
This should be the first one. The first visual podcast. I'm feeling that.
Maybe. But
Maybe.
Anyway,
We'll post it to Jack Tomlinson Vlogs on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Okay, but anyway, now that we got through that, let's talk about names, because names are a big part of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you have like formerly known JT Kid, Jackson Ridley, Jackson James, but like how do they? Is it like your certain characteristics that they pick a nickname by?
So all of those names, with the exception of one, was actually picked by me. Your characteristics, like you said, your character and your gimmick, those are different. And I've gone through. I've only had one real gimmick prior, and now I have my one gimmick now, which I'll get into next if you'd like. But the names, JT Kid was the first name I ever used. I used it on birthday parties that I used to wrestle on. That was solely me. I was asked the day before by one of the guys that was running the show. He's a fellow wrestler. I wrestled him a couple times. He was like, "What do you want to be called?" I'm like, "I'm gonna be JT Kid." And the idea was I'm JT Kid, the perfect teen. And the idea was I'm 16. I can do it 16 what you can't do at 26, 36, 46, 66. It's me. I got it. I'm perfect. JT Kid. Eventually I started getting closer to wrestling on real shows, and I started wrestling in other states because their age in like New Jersey is 17, and I needed to change it, and I didn't know what it should be because like I was told by a bunch of people, you gotta make it seem more realistic, more like this guy is someone to fear. And Jackson is a name my aunt used to call me. It is very important and personal to me. So I wanted to use Jackson. And my heart was set on that. And my heart was set on keeping Jack in the name. And at this time, it was right after The Force Awakens and Star Wars came out. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you know Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey. Although she'd been acting prior to that, she really got her big break in Star Wars. Last name Ridley. I was like, I'm gonna steal her last name because I love Daisy Ridley. I think she's amazing. So I took Ridley. And I remember I was doing a YouTube show, and on the show, like live, no one had ever heard the name before. Someone had said, "What's your name, kid?" And I go, "Jackson Ridley." And everyone in the background are guys that I wrestle with, they're my friends, and they're like, "What? Who's Jackson Ridley? Where's this coming from?" So at that point, both names were mine. I started a YouTube channel before turning 18. And the YouTube channel was called Jack Tomlinson Vlogs because it wasn't a wrestling YouTube channel. It was mine. It was literally the life of Jack Tomlinson and what I do day to day. So I get closer to my debut match, and I start talking to some of the other guys I wrestle with, and I say, "Hey guys, I really think I should just do Jack Tomlinson." I think I built a brand at that point. It was like 300 subscribers. It was nothing crazy. But I said I built a brand as Jack Tomlinson. I think I should keep it. I want to keep going as Jack Tomlinson. So I stayed as Jack Tomlinson, and that's what I kept with, and that's what I continue to keep with, and that's what I want to keep with for the rest of my career. Jackson James came when I wrestled for WWE, and I can't wait to get into that discussion.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
But when I wrestled for them, I actually didn't even know what was happening. I'll tell the story of the name right now. Didn't know my name. Sometimes they ask you, sometimes they don't. And I remember going out on Raw, and I did not know my name. And when I got back, I got a text from my father, and he goes, "Congratulations, Jackson James." And I'm like, "Who the?" And then like an hour and a half later, they posted on YouTube the match, and I'm like, "Oh, I guess I was called Jackson James." The next night when I wrestled again for WWE,
it was more than one night? Holy crap!
I wrestled for them twice. Yeah, I technically wrestled for them 3 times, twice on television. But I'll tell the big story of that in a minute or so.
That'll be the juicier part.
It's the meat and potatoes. One of the producers came up to me, and my tights say Tomlinson on the back. So they're like, what are your tights say? I'm like, they say Tomlinson. I'm like, and they're like, what is that? And they're like, is that your gimmick? And I'm like, no, my gimmick's the Vessler, which, like I said, if you want to talk about gimmicks, I'd love to do that too. He goes, "So Tomlinson, that's your name?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "What did they use last night?" And I'm like, "Jackson James." And they're like, "But your name's," and I'm like, "I know." And he goes, "All right, tonight we're going to use Tomlinson." He goes, "You're probably going to be Jackson Tomlinson or Jack, or maybe just Jack Tomlinson." I was like, I got fired up. I was like, this is awesome. They're going to use my name. And then about 30 minutes before I get out, one of the commentators comes up to me, and he's like, "All right, what's your name, kid?" And I'm like, Last night was Jackson James. They were supposed to change it, but that wasn't approved. Please do not say that name on television if it is not the name they're using. I tried to be so clear. Don't use it. The same producer I talked to earlier comes up to me and goes, and I asked him, hey, did you switch the name? I was just asked by this comment by Nigel McGuinness, like, what do I do? And he's like, man, I didn't get around to it. We'll just use Jackson James again. Who cares?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Went out again, Jackson James. But the funny thing is, little do they know, Jackson, like I said prior, is a really important name to me. It was what my aunt called me, so it's very sentimental. So that was awesome. And James was actually supposed to be my name. My mom was going to name me James, but she didn't because my cousins, they have 3 kids, and their middle son is named Christopher, which is also the name of my older brother. And their youngest son is named James. And my mom, when she was having me and wanted to name me James, she was like, this is going to be weird if your cousins are named Christopher and James, and you both are also named Christopher and James. So you're going to, and then.
But your name's not even really Jack, though. It's like John.
No, it's not. My real name's John Patrick.
It's like John. Yeah, John Patrick.
Real name is John Patrick.
Right there. What am I doing? Yeah.
Does it? Yeah. It does say, yeah, John Patrick. One word, capital P.
That's your first name, or is that first middle?
Well, first name. My middle name is Kieran.
Whoa, your first name is actually John Patrick. Oh, damn! I really thought that was a first with the middle combined.
My entire first name is John Patrick. My entire name is John Patrick Kieran Tomlinson.
Wow.
But when I say my name, I like to add in my nickname, which is Jack, and I like to add in my confirmation name, which is Peter. So sometimes when people ask me my name, I'm
Jack,
like,
Peter.
It's John Patrick, Jack, Peter, Kieran, and Tomlinson. How you doing?
Holy moly.
I like to add that. It was even funnier when I used like Jackson James or JT Kidd. I'd be like, hello, I'm John Patrick, Jack, JT Kidd, Peter, Kieran, and Tomlinson. Nice to meet you.
Damn. Well, let's see. Well, obviously, as a pro wrestler, you do a lot of training with your stunts, with all of your drilling with your choreography and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a physical training side to it where there has to be a certain physique. I don't know if they require a certain physique, but I know you lift. But
I try.
What like do they want you to be like absolutely ripped and shredded?
Depends on who you ask that question to. I think it definitely helps.
Okay.
Not for a shaming aspect, but for when you're walking down the street or you're at the beach and you see just your average looking guy. All right, cool. But if you see this guy walking down and he's tan, he's vascular, looks like he's on steroids, your first reaction seeing him is, holy crap, that's a jacked dude.
Yeah.
And I think when you're the better physique you have, the more reaction you're going to get when you come out. So it does help in that aspect. There are tons of wrestlers who don't have a good physique and are just insane athletes, just great performers, and it works. I'm on the smaller side. I'm nearing 5'9". So I think having a better physique and having a better strength and power behind me for my individual situation, it's very important.
Yeah, because you are shirtless a lot of every match you're shirtless?
Every match, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that I guess is more appealing to the eye, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, crap, this guy's shredded. Holy fuck.
Mm-hmm. It helps in that sense. I also, on top of it, I love working out. I take a lot of pride in my body. I think it's my temple. It's what I want to do for it. I've been taking care of it since before I could even remember. And working out is just really important to me. I love working out. I love weight training, and I love sports.
Yeah, therapeutic. Very therapeutic.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Shout out Professor Epstein. Health is your greatest wealth.
Health is your greatest wealth. Dude, Epstein's a prime example. I mean, look at him. I mean, physique goes a long way. He was
time Iron Man or something.
Iron Man, yeah. And he's a lifeguard. He's an EMT. The guy's Epstein's a legend. I really hope Epstein sees this so he knows I don't just talk to him and I'm not nice to him just in class. It's because I really love Epstein. He's an actor.
Yeah. That's what I was about to ask. Like, I saw him. Like, wasn't he in? Crap. What?
He was in 2 big things that I know of. He was in Baywatch.
Yeah. That was the one that I saw was like Baywatch, and I was like, holy crap, he's in Baywatch.
He was in Baywatch. He was in the lifeguard scene, the lifeguard tryout recruit scene, and he's also.
Wait, they shot that in New York?
No, he went to Georgia for that.
Oh, okay.
He's also he's in Stranger Things.
Wait, he's in Stranger Things?
Season 3 of Stranger Things. If you look in episode 1 and 2 at the pool, he is in there. He is in the
What?
pool. He's one of the
What
guys
the?
hanging out.
Wait, so well,
How'd this turn into Epstein's podcast? What the heck? I thought I
I
was
don't
the
know.
guest.
I just shouted him out for his good health quote, but
You get him on this.
oh really?
Oh, dude, I'm a terrible guest. I'm literally shifting it off me. I'm like, don't interview me. Interview him.
Gary Epstein. Well, he does have a lot of good stories. Holy crap!
He's
But
got great
anyway,
stories. He got great credits.
anyway,
What were
well,
we talking about?
we were talking about your training.
Training. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Voice crack.
Nice.
Yes. Training.
So, is it like a lot of benching, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of pulling?
Yeah. It's basically that.
Gym bro shit.
It's a lot of, what was it?
Gym bro.
Gym bro. Bro science.
Yeah.
A lot of in the gym, working out. Yeah, 100%. Weight training at least 5 times a week. I do a split of one day is legs, another day is shoulders, another day is arms, another day is my back, and another day is my chest. And I try and work out abs every day. It was great when the gyms were going on. Obviously, with this pandemic right now and the coronavirus, I had a recent living situation where I actually had access to a squat rack with a bench and with cables, so it was great. Living situation has recently changed, so now I'm using those adjustable weights I talked about and resistance bands, but it's still the same. It gives me the same thing. Nowadays, I wake up, first thing I do is I work out abs for 5 to 10 minutes. I drink a glass or 2 of water to try and get the body going right away. It's great for getting everything running, getting all the organs going. It's great for fat loss, great for your skin to get going right away. And then I'll do abs, like I said, and then I'll go for a run. Nothing crazy. I honestly would be surprised if I broke a mile. It's just to warm up. I don't like running. My cardio is wrestling. I hate cardio unless it's in the ring. Then I'll weight train for anywhere for 45 minutes to an hour. And I'll use dumbbells, barbells. That's my main thing. Sometimes body weighted. I'll do push-ups. I do enjoy body weighted exercises. I think they're very pivotal to mixing it up and shocking the muscle. And I'll always
Hypertrophy. Hypertrophy.
Okay. I try and stretch every day too. I try and find time. I say I do yoga. I think it's not a very well structured yoga because it's just based on me. I don't really like put a video on. I don't like do specific yoga poses, but I really try and I bring out the mat and I try and stretch. And then I try and do abs twice a day. I do abs later on again in the day.
What the hell? Twice a day?
I just like working out, and I don't do it long. It's like 5 to 10 minutes. It's nothing crazy. And
get that nice burn, right?
Yeah. And I started playing basketball this past couple months. So I try and shoot the ball around. I didn't get to do it today. I'm kind of annoying myself, but I shoot the ball around every now and then, and that just works up a sweat.
Yeah. Well, I saw. I remember a few years back. I was looking at John Cena train. That guy's strong.
Oh,
that guy's like insane. Benching like over 400, squatting over 6.
Another level. I was in a gym with him one time.
What?
Yeah, I walked into a gym and he was there. I met him, and
you so happened to see him.
Yeah, kind of. We saw him walk into the gym. Me and my dad looked at each other and we're like, all right.
Yeah, we're going in there.
John Cena, we're going to go meet him. We went and met him. And the guy's just casually sitting on the bench, texting in between sets. Dude's got 3 plates and a 35 on the bench. And he's not like, hey, yeah. And he's not like, what was it? What did you say?
You said 3 plates and a 25?
And a 35.
Oh, and a 30. Oh, that's 375. Holy moly.
Yeah, so 385. I think 385. Did I do my math?
Oh no, it is 385. Oh my.
Yeah, 385. I want to give John Cena all the credit.
Yeah.
But he's not like benching that, and he's not like saying, "Hey man, can you come spot me? I'm getting 1 rep." He's just sitting there texting. Okay, I sent my text. Let's get good 10, 12. Go back to texting.
10 to 12 with 375, 85. Holy moly.
He's a strong boy.
Strong guy.
Strong man.
But yeah, anyway, no, this is kind of a good one. This might get, I don't know if you're an emotional guy. I have no idea. You might be, but like we're gonna talk about your relationships, how it's been solidified with what has pro wrestling done to you as a person, like with your relationships and stuff. Like, you think it's improved them? You think it's like brought your family together more?
I think it has improved them. I'm going to say it's
Okay.
improved them because it's allowed me to improve myself. It's made me more disciplined. It's made me more confident, and it's made me know who I am as a person a lot better with wrestling. I think I, like most kids, was very lost and very confused. And like most people, actually, I think we still are. There are times I get lost. And I think wrestling, along with working out, are the things that pull me back and allow me to be with myself and figure out who I am. And that gave me this confidence and this ability to be comfortable putting myself out there, to be comfortable not being afraid to show myself. And in turn with that, it allowed me to grow up a little bit faster, which I mean, in theory, some people could say it's bad to grow up too fast, but I think it allowed me to be more of an adult, which allowed me at 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old to hang around with other adults, because the youngest person I wrestled with when I was 18 was 24. That's a 6-year difference. So everyone's older than me. So I have to rise up to that level of maturity with them. All that traveling to different states, the business aspect of selling merchandise and talking to promoters and meeting with fans, that allowed me to grow up a bit and make things better with communication skills. And then on top of it, when you stand in a ring in front of, the most I ever wrestled in front of was 15,000 people. When you stand in front of 15,000 people in tights, shirtless, you're very vulnerable, 100%. And if you're able to get past that, you'll come to find a lot, which I have no problem talking to people. I love public speaking. I love speaking. I love telling stories. It's really fun for me. It's made me a lot more confident, which allows me to go out there and be proud of who I am and what I offer. I don't have any trouble talking to girls, which is amazing. Allowed me to get my girlfriend. So
I mean, yeah, aren't you?
it allowed me to talk to my girlfriend. I first shot my shot with my girlfriend through Instagram. If I didn't have confidence, I wouldn't have had it in me to do that. So,
Want to talk about how you shot your shot? Oh no.
I messaged her on Instagram and she left me on open for 5 months.
Oh no, 5
Mm-hmm.
months?
5 months, and then
What is that, like 100-something days? Holy frick!
I'll do the math here. Let's do it. Let's do this. Average month, 31 days times 155 days, and then we had a short conversation. It was like 2 minutes. It was like two messages back and forth. Then she left me on open, and then we met again 5 months later, and she approached me this time. She was like, "Hey, Jack, it's good to see you." I think she was just nervous. You get a random DM from a random guy. That's completely understandable. I get it. And this time she shot her shot, and she gave me the indication that she was interested. I asked her on a date. We went on our date, and now here we are, almost a year later, still going strong.
That's good. You guys look pretty solid.
I like to think so. No, yeah. I know so. I love her.
Oh, look at that. That's sweet.
I know, right? I'm such a little love bug.
Anyway, okay. Well, now that that's over with, let's talk Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
Wait, was it Monday Night Raw?
It was. And 205 Live.
Oh, I don't know what that is, but okay, let's talk about your actual WWE. That's like national television, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So I was actually on Raw the week before too. So I was on Raw the week before as well. So I'll tell the story from the get-go. So WWE does extra work where you can show up and you can be an extra talent. And sometimes you're just there to be like a backstage presence. Sometimes you're there to help someone's entrance, such as the week I was on prior. There was a wrestler at the time with WWE called No Way Jose, and he came out to the ring with a conga line behind him. I was in his conga line. I was wearing white overalls and a tie-dye tank top. It was hysterical. But the next week, I was that was like a fleet of the moment. I was called in on a random note to be a part of the conga line. But the next week, I was called back, and this was a full weekend. It was Sunday. It was Extreme Rules in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center. Monday, it was Monday Night Raw at the Nassau Coliseum, and Tuesday, it was SmackDown Live into 205 Live on where was it? It was in Worcester, Massachusetts. I think it was the DCEU Center, DCEU, one of those. And So on Extreme Rules on Sunday, I was in the crowd and I got thrown I got pushed, I think, by Bobby Lashley. That was awesome. I thought that was going to be the high of the weekend. I thought this was it. Monday Night Raw comes through.
How did you even get, like, is it from Creative Pro Wrestling? Like, they gave you that call?
Yeah. So Brian Myers, being one of the head trainers, working with WWE at the time, has developed some great relationships with WWE. And whenever they're in town, he's often asked, like, hey, do you have any guys that you think would be good for these specific roles? And he will often suggest people. Sorry about that. He'll often suggest people that are good for him that should be in the scene and in this specific moment, in this specific role. So he actually had suggested one person, and they're like, all right, you need 3 more. And he gave that one person permission, VSK. Then he comes up a lot of my wrestling stories. To bring 3 people that he trusted and thought would be ready if a match presented itself, because that is very rare. Sometimes WWE will let you have a match on television doing the job of a jobber, which is basically you're there to job. You're there to get beat up to make the other guy look good. It's called a jobber. That's an old school wrestling term. I don't think it's really used anymore, but I like the term.
What was your role?
I was a jobber. I was there to get beat up. So I show up that day to the arena, and to me, this is the Nassau Coliseum. This is my home arena. This is where I grew up around. The first time I ever saw wrestling live, first time I ever saw Monday Night Raw live was at the Nassau Coliseum. So I was really excited. I was going to be backstage. You got WWE catering, which is always amazing. And I was hyped. And I'm sitting down at catering with VSK and the other 2 Creative Pro superstars that I came with, Eric James and Bryce Donovan. And we're all sitting there, we're talking. And Brian Myers, WWE superstar, comes up, puts his hands on mine and VSK's shoulder, and he goes, you guys are going up against the Viking Raiders tonight. And I'm just like, my heart just drops. I'm like, what? VSK goes, awesome. Thank you so much, man. VSK's been wrestling for over a decade. Legitimately the best in-ring performer I've seen on the independent circuit. So he was ready. He's like, I got this. This is my moment. I've been waiting for this. Me, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm 18 years old. I can't be wrestling on television. He walks in. I'm like, yeah, thanks, Brian. And I'm like, oh, no. 15 minutes later, the Viking Raiders walk in to catering, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to be crazy. Now I'm nervous because at this point, it's like it's like not even 5 in the afternoon, and I'm not wrestling till like 9:30. So I just have 4.5 hours. So I remember I stretched oh, my God, so much. I stretched like 4 times. Because I was like, I'm going to be ready for the match. And then it's like 4 hours later. All right, I got to be ready. Stretch. 3 hours, 2 hours. All right, I'm going on 30 minutes. Let's stretch. Get a quick pump. Start like curling the air so I look vascular. And I remember going to ringside and working out the match. I remember practicing all these things. Zack Ryder's actually there. Zack Ryder comes past. I met him as a fan, and I knew him through other events where we interacted, and he knows that I'm a big fan of his, and he walks past me, he goes, what the heck are you doing in my ring, kid? You don't, like, why are you here? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm sharing a ring with Zack Ryder. This is so cool. So we go through everything, and right before the match is about to start, we're standing right before we get into Gorilla, which is where the curtain is that you go out to, and I'm nervous. And there's a really cool moment. VSK like said to me, he's like, hey man, listen, some people work their whole life for this and they never get here. You're here at 18. You're here because you belong here. So just go out there, have fun, and do what you do, and you're going to be fine. And I'm like, awesome. I get to Gorilla, and you see Vince McMahon, you see Triple H, you see Paul Heyman, these Michael Hayes. These are big names in wrestling. These are the guys. And then you see other wrestlers and former wrestlers like Tyson Kidd there, and it's going to be big. And I remember getting a little nudge on the back, and all right, you guys are good. Go. We go out. We didn't get our own entrance. We just came out during commercial. So we had to find the ring in the dark. So we get to the ring, and now we're standing there waiting. We're getting ready to go.
Damn.
And I knew I was starting. Off the match. And the second the match began, it was just go right away.
Hit the spotlights and everything.
I'm getting shot. Like the guy takes a shot on me. Excuse me. And he throws me into the corner. I get a knee to the stomach. I get a knee to the face. I'm sitting in the corner. And this is my favorite moment of the match. I'm sitting in the corner, and they're beating up my tag partner over in the other corner. And I just remember looking around, and I see the WWE logo in the corner of the ring. And I look around and I see all the fans and I see everyone like going crazy. And I realize it dawns on me. I'm at the Nassau Coliseum. I'm at my arena. I am in front of 15,000 people. I'm in a WWE ring, and I am on Monday Night Raw. This is crazy. Next thing I know, this 300-pound hairy Viking butt is coming at me. And if you look up on YouTube, Jackson James WWE, it's the first video that comes up, and you'll see it. This big ass, boom, right in my face. I get hit with his butt. He goes to pin me. 1, 2. He peels me off the mat. He could have just won the match there. He peels me off. And then fast forward, match keeps going. They start beating up my tag partner again. In the mix of him getting beat up, he actually breaks his collarbone.
Oh, what? Literally?
Now, yeah, legitimately, 100% breaks his collarbone. He thought he popped out his shoulder because he just felt the pain here. He didn't know what it was. And the collarbone, all the muscles, all the tendons were now like detached and not working. So his arms just like drooping. Thankfully, his part was over. He rolled over. I get beat up. They pin me 1, 2, 3. I'm lying there. I'm staring up at the ceiling of the Coliseum, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm in so much pain, but it's worth it because I'm on Raw. The ref comes over and he whispers in my ear, and he's like, partner had a dislocated shoulder, and I'm supposed to be dying, and I look over and I'm like, what? Like I'm supposed to be like in pain, but I forget to like be in pain because for a hot second I'm like, is he okay? What's gonna happen to him? And we get into the back and we rush him back, and I remember the second we got through Gorilla again, Triple H, and I know you mentioned Triple H, he's a producer for WWE. He gets up to say something, to like give comments, but he was like happy with it, so I was excited. And then he goes, that for real? And they carry VSK out to the trainer's room, and I had to follow because it's my tag partner. And after that point, I just waited outside the trainer's room with Eric James for a good hour. We just waited there together while he had to be taken care of. They took him to the hospital. He thankfully didn't have to have surgery. He's PT, and he's back full time now, so he's great. He's doing good.
So was it a broken collarbone or dislocated
broken
shoulder? Okay.
Broken collarbone. But the cool moment that came out of that was while I was waiting outside the trainer's room, AJ Styles comes out. He comes over and he goes, he hurting there? And I go, yeah, it's I think he dislocated his shoulder. And he's like, the German clothesline, this is the move that he got injured on. And I go, yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, how did you know that? And he goes, and he kind of shakes his head like, sorry. And he goes, sorry about that. And he walks away. And I was like, holy crap, AJ Styles just watched this match. And if you really following, I mentioned AJ Styles earlier in this podcast as one of the guys I watch. So that was really cool. But I was at a mix of feelings the rest of the night, because now I was just, I gotten through it. It went well. I was happy. But now I'm just worried about my friend. I want my friend to be healthy. He thankfully was. And I went home and I slept like a baby that night because I was in heaven, just to get up the next morning to drive to Massachusetts for SmackDown with WWE. So that was it. That's
right,
another.
You didn't do just one night. You did. You said you did technically 3.
Yep. I did. So this is now the 3rd night. Prior to actually wrestling, we had practice matches for WWE's producers, and I had my match with Bryce Donovan, and it's very simple, but it was great. Bryce is really good in the ring, and he really knows how to put stuff together, and he did a great job for us. And when it was done, we get out, and we're going to them for critiques, and they go, we think we're going to use you again tonight, Jack. You're going to take on Mike Kanellis. And he goes, but we'd like to bring Mike Kanellis out here so he can watch and see that you have good footwork, you know what's going on in the ring. And I'm like, all right, cool. And now I'm very, I was like, is it cool if I wrestle with my friend Bryce again? I want him to be the one in the ring with me. They're like, yeah, of course you can wrestle him. We wrestle again. I'm now about to go back in the ring, and now Mike Kanellis walks out, and he's the guy who ends up wrestling that night. His wife, Maria Kanellis, comes out, who's also a big name in wrestling, and then out comes Buddy Murphy, who's another wrestler, Samoa Joe, another wrestler, Drew Gulak came out, Aiden English, and Mustafa Ali, and a couple of WWE referees, and the same WWE producer that was there at the time, Scott Armstrong. And now I'm like, okay. it's game on. Like, I'm not just wrestling in front of one producer. I'm wrestling in front of the roster. I got to do this. Very simple. I was very proud. And then when that was done, I went over to Mike Kanellis, and he paid me a compliment to what he saw. He was very proud. And then he asked who trained me. And I told him it was Brian Myers, Kurt Hawkins. And he made like a that makes sense kind of phrase and statements, like paying compliment not only to me and what he just saw from me, but to Kurt Hawkins and what he can do as a trainer. So that was really cool. Him and I then talked. We went through the whole match. He's awesome. He then vanished. He went into the locker room and he was gone. I did not, that point, I was there earlier that day. I was there at like 3. Excuse me. Sorry. All this talking. It's getting my throat parched. I was there at 3. So this conversation took place probably around 4:15, 4:30. I don't know. I don't know where he is. SmackDown happened. SmackDown ends at around 10 o'clock at night. 205 Live is starting at 10:05. It's 9:55. I'm watching the main event, and he is still nowhere in sight. I have not seen or heard from him. So if there are changes, I don't know about it. And like I said earlier, I've wrestled with very limited preparation. But I don't want to do that for WWE. I want to be prepared. Yeah. I want to know every step of the way. This way I can nail it to the best of my ability to show off, to impress them. He shows up, and I try and go talk to him. And he's like, you're good? And I can't tell him I'm not good. If I tell him I'm not good, I'm going to look like I'm unprepared. So I'm like, yeah, I'm great. Great. He starts warming up. And then the next thing I know, I'm waiting to go out. And this was really cute. His wife comes up to me and she's like, you ready? You're excited? And she can tell, like, I'm in an adult business. I'm here with adults. I need to be mature. I need to be conduct myself well. I can't have any get you boy moments. But I'm a kid. I'm a teenager. And it's very obvious I'm a teenager. You can tell. I look like I'm 12. I have a baby face. Like, she could tell. And she kind of came over to me and she gave me this cute little, like, good luck, you got this, you're going to do so good. I heard great things. I liked what I saw. Like, so that was cool. She was kind of like momming me. And that was a cool feeling. And the ref comes, he's like, you're going to go out. And right as I'm about to go out, I'm going out, and coming back is the wrestlers that were just prior in the ring. And Brian Kendrick, who's a wrestler, very well-respected wrestler, great trainer, one of the best in-ring performers in wrestling, he grabs me on the ramp. And this is really cool because he's actually, at the time, he's a heel, which is a bad guy. So him to do this is kind of weird. Like, it's out of character. But the cameras are off, so yeah. The cameras are off, so no one sees this. It's a very intimate moment with me and him. But he grabs me and he goes, hey, good luck out the kid. Just have fun. You got this. I'd had a brief interaction with him in catering, and I'd made him laugh at one point, so I think he wanted to go out of his way to say that. And I go, thank you. All right, thank you. And I was just trying to stay in the zone. Pats me on my shoulders. He goes back. I go into the ring, and I'm standing there. I'm just getting ready. I'm just punching the air. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, because I was standing there for like 2 minutes waiting. They played this whole vignette of the build-up to why this match was happening, the storyline going on with Mike Kanellis and his wife. And all this is going on, and, like, I don't know if the camera's on me or not, so I don't want to just stand there and wait and just, like, rub my legs. I need to actually do something. So I'm just standing there for, like, 3 minutes, just punching the air, just getting ready, not knowing what to do. And then this match starts. This match was shorter, but this match I felt more confident. I kind of wish this was the one on Raw, because the second the bell rings, I charge him, and he just kicks me in the face. Just a full-on blast to the face. And then he just starts chopping me, which is when you smack someone in the chest. In wrestling, those are chops, all over the ring, and they make great sounds. Like, it's just a constant all over the place. So I'm getting my ass handed to me. I'm getting destroyed. But I'm still acknowledging.
Elbow, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm still acknowledging him in the WWE ring. He pins me, he beats me, and it's over. And the next thing I know, he's not stopping. He's still beating me. He just starts beating me up again after the bell. Picks me up, throws me out of the ring. And I'm just like, this is incredible. I walk back into Gorilla. I'm holding my neck. I'm, like, limping. I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then I get there, and I'm like, I'm upset because now I know the weekend's over. I know my WWE weekend of wrestling is over. But I was like, I got through it. I had 2 matches on television, and they went well. I was given a job. I performed the job. I think I performed it well. I'll never know what they thought, but I'm very proud of what I did. And I'm proud of the product that came out of it. And that was awesome. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's a great feeling to train so long and then being able to bring it to fruition, being able to present it.
That's the biggest thing. Like I said, with the 2-year wait from 16 to 18, not being able to wrestle on shows, a lot of people would have quit. I mean, to be told you have to wait at least 2 years to get any sort of progress, that's just a sad feeling, and it sucks. But I stuck it out, and I trained for another year wrestling the shows, and it paid off in the form of WWE, which is incredible. Incredible.
All right, this will be the last one that I ask you, but I know I don't know if are you a big trash talker? I have no idea if you are. I think you are.
I'm more of an inspirational talker. I'm more of a motivational type guy. So my gimmick is I'm the Vessler, which is a vlogging wrestler, because I vlog my entrance, so I combine them together. It's a Vessler. And being the Vessler, I also happen to be the captain and the leader of the Jack Pack. Now, the Jack Pack is my family, my friends, but most of all, my fans. I want to grow the Jack Pack. I want the Jack Pack to be the biggest thing. So if you subscribe to me, if you follow any of my channels, you cheer me on in the ring, you wear my merchandise, available at prowrestlingtees.com/JTVlogs, just saying, you're in the Jack Pack. And how are you going to join the Jack Pack? Like, why would you want to join if I'm a like you said, a trash talker? If the time comes for it, I've talked my fair share of trash. I've had people take shots at me. I've been hit with chairs. I've been put through tables. I've been hit with kendo sticks. So when the time comes to it, I've been hit in the place where the sun don't shine in probably every single match I've ever had. So when that happens, you got to step up. You got to talk some trash. You got to defend the Jack Pack. But before there's a reason, I try and be the motivational guy that you look up to. My main goal is this in all of wrestling. I said this a little bit prior. It's to give you the match and then I give you your money's worth. And the reason I want that is because life is stressful. Life at times can be a very toxic thing. And the way we get around that and the way we get through that is through things that pleasure us and entertain us. And if I can be that guy that distracts you for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes and brings joy and brings a smile to your face, I've done my job, whether it's for one person or it's for 1 million people. That is my goal.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I think comedians talk about that too. They have their specials on Netflix and whatnot, whatever it is, on their shows, and they always talk about how they want to bring joy to people, especially during a time like this, during our pandemic lockdown. The world's in chaos right now.
You need it right now, and I think that's the sad part. The thing I miss the most right now is sports. I love baseball, and the fact that baseball's not going on is so upsetting. And people say baseball's a long game. I mean, I kind of need some baseball right now. I wouldn't mind sitting down for 5 hours and just staring at the TV and passing the time, because I'm passing the time pacing around the house.
Yeah, the little things that you guys took it, what's it called? Took for granted are now, they're not available. And
I think it's gonna be good though in the long run. We're gonna appreciate things better. I think the environment's a lot better right now. I think we're valuing one another as people and as individuals. And I think people are finally, for the first time in a long time, taking things serious. And I think we're starting to realize what the real serious issues are. So
yeah, we are both from New York. We got hit the hardest. We got hit hard with this. So
I've actually been in Colorado in pretty much this whole pandemic. I went there for spring break and I got stuck there because of traveling issues. And I just this past weekend drove back. I drove from country long, all the way from Colorado to New York. So I saw the differences in some states, and that being back in New York, it really is. It's different. I was in Indiana, and I was in, I think, one place, I can't remember if it was Nebraska or Ohio, and they're not wearing masks. They're out, they're talking, they're sitting down at restaurants. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? I guess in New York, restaurants are still closed.
Oh yeah, they've been closed. Yeah.
I mean, it's a scary time. I can understand. And I think the worst thing is what it's doing to people mentally, being quarantined in their house. I think people are really anxious, and I hope people know we're going to pull through this. We're going to get through this. This isn't going to last forever.
Yeah. I think probably affecting you too, because you probably had matches planned up for the summertime.
Yeah. A lot's been put on hold right now. So, but it's okay. We'll all get back to it. I think this is good for us. I think we all need to take advantage of it, because a lot of people in life, especially myself, are go nonstop, always doing something. And I think this forces us to relax. And I think people need that. We all need to just take a break and focus on our own health and well-being.
Yeah. Well, Jack, it's been a pleasure. A lot of great discussions.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. This was awesome, man.
Yeah. All right. That was it, guys. Signing out, guys. Peace.
All right, later.